Hey everybody, we are back for 2025 here with a very special, exciting year upcoming. A lot in the works, a lot of things heading your way, so be sure to follow us along the journey as we see it unfold before our very eyes. This year we're starting out with Marcie, owner of GypsyLane 225. And yes, we are making a hat in the studio. It's happening. It's going down right now. So stay tuned. Enjoy the show. And also a big, wonderful thank you to the folks that bring you this show each and every week. Folia Real Estate, Lake Men's Health, Genteel Apparel. Without further ado, enjoy the show. So, I mean, how did you even get into this hat business
It was a hobby
thing?
by accident.
Okay, so what did you do before this?
So I worked in the medical field for 32 years. Yeah. And I retired. Well, not retired. I quit because I wasn't old enough to quite retire yet.
Right.
So I quit and decided that I just needed to change because it was way too stressful for me. And I wanted to be around to see my grandchildren.
Right.
So I got out of that. And then the flood hit in 16.
Okay.
And we lost our home, all of this stuff. So I kind of went back into the workforce, worked for a little mom and pop place in Baton Rouge, and then decided I was going to open my own boutique.
Okay.
In 2017.
So open a boutique, clothing boutique. Okay.
Specializing in plus size and curvy women.
Yeah.
And I did that for, I opened that in 18.
Well, you actually opened the boutique.
Oh, yeah.
What was it called?
Curve Appeal Boutique. It was in Denham and Walker.
Got it. Okay.
Then
Wait, 2 locations?
One business, but I started in Denham in a little small, and then went to Walker in a bigger location.
Got it.
And then decided that I didn't want a brick and mortar anymore, so I bought a trailer, and we turned the trailer into a boutique, and that was at the end of 2019.
Okay.
2020 rolls around.
So where were you bringing this trailer to?
We had already booked events in Texas, Mississippi, and Louisiana.
So was it like
craft
was it
shows
trade shows?
And setup.
Okay.
Exactly.
I used to own an apparel brand, and so I'm familiar with the trade show world.
Exactly.
So you would just bring your trailer to these trade shows,
roll it up, open the back door, set it up.
What were you creating the shopping experience outside of the trailer? Or were they walking into both? Okay.
Which is eventually what I want a little single horse trailer to turn it into a roll up hot bar is what I would like to.
So you've got some experience with trailers and going to different trade shows and everything. So ditch brick and mortar, do trade shows, and then
COVID.
The big C word.
And then that was in January. We did our first one in Texas.
Okay.
Came home and done. Everything was shut down.
Wow.
So here's $6,000 worth of inventory sitting in a $4,000 trailer in the yard.
You couldn't liquidate it?
I did wind up doing that once we realized that it was going to be a no-go and I wasn't going to sit on that kind of, investment. So I did. I liquidated, most of it. But of course, you lost your tail off, but
right. Nobody was doing anything the way they were.
So how are you going to liquidate when everybody is in the same boat you are? Mm-hmm. So it was tough, but so then I opened a few different businesses with past friends. No longer, the worst thing is to own.
Wait, they're no longer friends, or you're no longer involved in the business, or both?
Both.
Ooh, they say don't open businesses with your friends or your family.
1,000%. And if anybody wants to talk to me about that, I could write a book.
And look, I think it can be done under certain circumstances because I come from my brother's 4th generation family business. My dad's 3rd generation. So I grew up around it. I lived in it and I saw it. But they also had 2 brothers who split 2 generations up to do different things. Mm-hmm. And I've got a lot of family that are in family businesses. So it's possible, but it takes a strong willpower and also the ability to leave work at work.
Well, and not just that, but you have to have the same mindset. Yes. You and your partner have to have the same mindset.
Yep.
If you're not driven in the same way, if you do not have the same mindset, it will never work.
Yeah.
And the only reason I ever chose to have partners is because I want to share it person. So here I am, I have an idea, I have a vision, whatever the case may be. I want to share that with somebody because it's going to be fun, right? It ain't all always fun and games. It winds up being more games than fun, and it just winds up being not worth it.
It's funny that this is the part of the conversation today, because on the phone today, I was talking with somebody because in my CPA world, and I was telling him, he's like, I'm bringing in some partners to the business to, help do this and that. And I said, great. How's the operating agreement going? Who's working on that? And he was like, well, they're not really going to be. I'm like, no. The operating agreement is not established and written and done in depth as it should be for when the times are good. It is when the times go bad, not if, when the times go bad, because something's going to happen. And if it is a business where all the partners are really invested and like they need this to work out, it's going to explode.
Exactly.
If you're in a situation where it's more passive and lackadaisical and you're like, we're just doing this, we don't really need to be doing this, you can always have the point where it's like, it's not working, we're done, and no hard feelings.
Partner that is all in. Right. I want to make it work. And the other one is like, And that's what my situations were. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to do something, I am always all in. Always. And it took me a long time to realize not everybody is like me. That's why when you asked me earlier, what's a good piece of it? It's okay to fail. Mm-hmm. I had to learn that it was okay to fail as long as I was willing to continue to try. But it was tough because I got hurt. Yeah. Like,
it's not cheap to fail.
It's not cheap to
Physically,
fail.
Mentally,
you're putting in all your time, all your effort, all your energy, getting very little in return. Let's be honest. Right. And then to have a partner that is not on the same page as you are, it's just bad. It's just bad. So I was actually in business with a partner, 2 businesses with this partner. And I got out of both because we were just not on the same, our visions just did not mesh. And I got out of those, but at the end, I was going to probably do it anyway. But when my daughter told us that she was having another baby and her oldest was 7, I was still in the workforce. I couldn't watch that one. My husband was like, okay, you're done. You're done. You're going to watch our baby. And so I did. I got out of those businesses, which all of this, God had it all lined up for me, man. It was just like boom, 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 boom. And I was like, okay, well, that's all fine and good, but I'm not one to just sit around and not do something. I'm not. My grandma had to figure out how to raise 5 kids, and she made cakes. She made wedding flowers. She sewed. So I've always had that. All of my aunts tell me, you're just like mama. And I'm glad. And it's really funny because my grandmother was a baker. My daughter's a pastry chef. So it just all evolved, which I think is really cool. But a friend of mine in Texas, she was kind of doing these, and I was like, oh man, that looks like fun. I can't wear a hat. I look like a goof in one, but that looks like fun. So I made a few, and a friend of mine was like, hey, I'm going to have some girlfriends over at the house. Why don't you bring some of that and we'll just play around? Okay, cool.
So you said you made a few, like it's just an easy endeavor that anybody can take on. Like, hang on, let's back up a little bit. So you've got a friend in Texas who does these. Mm-hmm. They have a brick and mortar. Yeah. What's her? Okay, so she got a brick and mortar store.
She has a little hat bar.
Okay, she's got a hat bar. Mm-hmm. So, did you apprentice with her? How do you learn how to do this stuff?
So I've always been very artsy craftsy. Okay. And very creative. I've done all kinds of crazy stuff in the last 35 years that I've been married. Used to paint on shirts. I've done it. And so it's like, oh, I can do that. So I did. Basically, I figured it out. TikTok can be your friend.
Absolutely.
So
TikTok and YouTube, you can
you can learn anything. And I am not a techie person, far from it. But I was like, okay, we're just gonna figure it out, and that's what I did.
I've done a whole drivetrain swap on a Jeep from YouTube.
Isn't that crazy?
Just put it up on the dash, just watching the video, walking me through it, and go back and do it, and come back, rewind,
right?
watch it.
Isn't that nuts? Or how to fix this. I'm like, I don't have a clue. So here we go. It's just nuts. But yeah, I mean, that's basically what I did. And like I said, I made a few. We had a party with a few friends, and they were like, man, you should really do this for other people. And I'm like, but what?
Why?
I'm like, what? And they're like, no, it's really cool. Like, nobody else is doing this. It's a super cool concept. So I started this about 18 months ago. Okay. So since then,
it's still a little fresh.
Others have followed.
Here, locally?
Not in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
Not in Baton Rouge.
I wasn't. No, I'm not wearing a hat, so obviously I'm not a hat wearer of this type all the time. But I wasn't aware that was a lot of competition.
No, not here locally.
Okay.
I do a lot of research. Like, I am a research hog.
Right. You have to.
You have to. You have to keep the trend. You have to stay. You just have to.
Look, if you're not, your competitor is.
And I could be my own competitor from time to time. I mean, seriously. Okay, well, I'm doing this. Well, boo, you're going to bump it up. Now we're going to go do this. Like, for instance, I ordered a laser this year.
Hang on now. What kind of laser?
So
let's back up a little bit.
We're gonna laser on patches. Those patches are gonna go on my hats. You can put anything you want on those patches, and that's something that I'm going to be adding this year. Yeah. So once
like a laser engraver.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Laser engraver. Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So like
this hobby is no longer a hobby.
No, it's not. It's not. Like it is. It's a full-fledged business. And in 18 months, I've gotten to a part, thank you, Jesus, where people are like, they're coming to me. Like they're finding me, they're coming to me. But I also reach out. I reached out to you.
It works.
Okay. I reached out to Brittany Rose with 100.7, the Tiger. Gave Brittany a hat. Hey, you're going to, CMAs, whatever. I want to gift you a hat. Gifted her a hat. She called me. Hey, we're doing a concert this summer with Zach Top. You want to bring Bar out? Absolutely. So
you'll go to concerts and do this.
Mm-hmm. So I am a mobile hat bar.
Okay.
So
you say it like it's a normal thing. Like I'm a mobile hat bar. Like, when we think of bars, it's like champagne bars or bar cars, not mobile hat bars.
Yeah, so I'm a mobile hat bar. I pack it all up and literally bring everything to you. So I set out all my hats. Okay. I have a hat material buffet.
Okay.
So I lay out multitudes of materials, adornments, jewels. I probably have over 2,000 jewels for them to pick from.
Holy smokes.
Material is insane. Banding options, just the works. And they pick a hat. Mm-hmm. They pick from the buffet table. And depending on what type of setting that we're doing, whether I'm doing all the designs or if we're doing a workshop where I walk them through the entire process and they design their own hats. So that's our two options with my company. It's just a lot of fun.
So you'll have some options where it's like a pre-made concept, or
I do no pre-makes.
No, I know that, but like you have pictures of like, do you want this hat, or you just, if somebody comes up and I say, hey, make me a hat.
Mm-hmm. So I have a 3-tier program.
Okay. Let's walk through the 3-tier program.
So I have a 3-tier program. My best friend helped me come up with the name, so we're a little crazy, on our end. So we have our hats start at $75, which is way cheaper than most hats.
Less expensive.
Thank you. They're less expensive than most. You're not going to go to Colorado and get what I'm going to produce for $75. You're not. You're going to get it for about $200. At least. But I want to see people enjoy what I have to offer, enjoy the experience, and I would rather see more hats on more heads than not. that's just who I am, and that's that's my purpose with this. My hats cap out at $125. You can land a plane with that $125 hat. So we have the Gypsy, which is $75. I'm going to be making today probably that Gypsy. I'm going to make between the Gypsy and the Hippie.
Okay.
Today, my Hippies are $90. And then my Tramp is my $125 hat. And you get what you want with the Tramp.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So how do you find that line between the three of them? Is there like a clear accessory or okay?
Yeah. So I have it lined out. So from the least expensive to the cap out, with our Gypsy, you get the hat, of course. You get one material option. You get one band option. You get 2 jewels, 2 feathers. That's a basic hat.
Okay. That's still a lot, though.
And that's all of your choice.
Right.
Welcome to the brand new Falia mobile app. We took all the same tech that's helped hundreds of people sell their homes themselves and packed it into an easy-to-use app for your phone. When you download the Falia mobile app on either the Apple or Android App Store, you'll immediately be able to see the power of this game-changing tool. From the seller's dashboard, you can navigate to all the information that you need. We intentionally separated everything into key groups, such as tasks to be completed, buyer leads for your listing, and contact information for everyone involved through closing. When you get an offer on your property, you can simply review and respond all within the app. No matter where you are in the world, you'll be able to monitor everything that's going on with your property from listed to sold. It's truly the power of Falia in the palm of your hand. Download the app and see for yourself. Falia, it's real estate reimagined.
So we are 100% custom. We do not pre-make hats to sell because I wouldn't be a custom hat maker if I did that.
Right.
That's how I look at it. I would be a designer. I wouldn't be a custom hat maker. So everything with my hat bars, they pick out 100%. Okay. So when it is complete, whether I construct it or they construct it, it is 100% their story on their hat, their personality on their hat. It is theirs. Nobody will ever have another one like it.
I like
so
it.
Everybody likes that concept. I'm like, I do too. That's why I started the concept. So yeah.
Okay, so you've got this blank canvas.
Yeah.
So how do you start? What do you pick?
So
where do we go from here?
So the first thing I do is always ask the customer if they would like their hat toasted. And they're like, what do you mean? Well, I can burn your hat and we can antique it and we can make it look antiqued and weathered and give it a completely different look. The next question I always get is, I don't know. What do you think? And I'm like, never ask me because I'm going to burn that sucker every time. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to burn this baby.
All right. Let's burn it.
All right. So I'm going to burn her up. It's one of my favorite parts.
I know. I'm
However,
fascinated by this.
I do get war wounds from it. So I burn the inside of my arm. Yeah, I always do that.
I feel like they make maybe some heat guards or something.
Yeah, but what's the fun in that? I mean, I gotta make it look like I'm doing something like really, really special, right? So, if I get burned in the process, yay!
That's just part of the show.
So it can change. It changes the look of the hat completely.
Wow!
And it gives it a completely different texture. So it weathers it. It makes it a little harder, makes it a little rougher, and it just gives it a much prettier look.
I was about to say it did kind of like just overall harden the hat a little bit.
And it depending on the color of the hat, it's going to lighten it up or it's going to deepen the color of the hat. So it's really cool to see it on different colors and styles of the hats.
I like that. So
yeah,
that's okay, so really we got a deepened, at least from my perspective, a deepened hat color here.
So if they ask me, I don't know what you think. Oh, we're toasting that bad boy every single time. So the next thing now, some hat makers don't permanently attach everything that they do to their hats. I'm all about permanently attaching everything to my hats because I don't want my customers going to a concert.
You don't want it to fly off.
I don't want it coming off. I don't want it coming loose. I don't want you losing a feather. I don't want you losing a band while you dancing, having a good time, whatever the case may be.
Or just change their mind overall, like when they're locked in.
They're locked in. And at $75, you can be locked in on this one for that outfit. You can get another one to lock in for your next outfit, your next concert.
Right.
You know, so
versatility.
Yeah, absolutely. So
we got the hot glue gun going.
So we just start the process. Yep. So another thing that I like to always ask is what side that they want their design on.
Okay.
Because for some people it matters. Some people, they don't care, but some people it matters.
They give you that whole, this is my good side bit, you know.
There you go.
Oh, it's got to be on the right side because that's the way
exactly
that my face is designed to be seen from.
Exactly.
You know.
So what I do, they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay, when somebody pulls out a camera, which way does your body automatically turn? Right?
And so
Works
then that's the way you
every
make
time.
it. Now, when you ask that question, does everybody immediately go into that position?
Like 1,000% every single time, or they take out their phone
and they look at a picture of themselves.
Look at a picture. I'm like, okay, cool.
They just want to verify that it's accurate.
I get it.
They want to go the correct way.
If you're going all in on the hat, you want to make sure you know it's on your good side.
Right. Look, if I'm buying a tramp, I want to go all in and know what I'm getting. You know.
Exactly. So. Another thing that's really cool about our hats is, like I said, I want people to tell a story.
Of course. With
their hat. I want it to be meaningful. I had a lady recently come into my booth at a event that I was doing, and she came in, and the minute she came in, she looked at a few things on the buffet table, and then she started crying. And I said, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I said, did I do something? Did something offend you? And she was like, no, just give me a second. And I'm like, okay. So she proceeds to tell me that the first thing that got her was the name of my business, GypsyLane. I said, okay. I said, well, look, you don't have to tell me. She said, no, I want to. She said, but first I want a hat. I said, okay, well, let's pick out everything you want. And man, she started picking out like this, like she picked this out and picked this out. And she was like, how many things can I have? And I'm like, you can have whatever you want. And she's like, okay. And, you know, I also have cards. I have matches. I have all kind of cool things.
Like playing cards?
Playing cards. Ooh. I have cards that say Guns N' Roses, Poison, like just all kind of really cool cards. I do matches. I set the matches on fire. I put them in, set the matches on fire. It's a lot of cool stuff. And so she picked out all of this stuff. She was like, do you think all of this can work on the hat? I was like, we can make it work. Absolutely. So as I'm making her hat, she starts to tell me why she was crying. She had told me that her son had recently passed away. And I'm making the hat, and she says, that card, the song on that card was his favorite song. I'm like, okay, cool. Put it in. And she's like, you know, that piece of jewelry right there, I don't even remember. It was a compass. It was a compass. And she said he traveled. He left home and traveled. He wanted to see the world. Okay, cool. So everything that she picked out literally was a tribute to her son and a reminder of her son. By the time we made that hat, that you could have landed a plane with that bad boy. But it was the prettiest hat that I think, one of the prettiest ones I've ever designed and put together. And she just sat there and cried and hugged me. At the end of the day, that's my purpose.
Right.
That is what my company is all about.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted it to be. So she will wear that hat and always remember her sign.
So do you take those hats once they're designed and finished, and is that your content that you're going to be posting on your social media?
Exactly. I sign the underneath of my hats. That's how I, usually you will know that it's a GypsyLane hat is because I sign the underneath of the band.
What do you sign them with?
Just a Sharpie.
Oh, I was really hoping you had like a brand. You're going to brand at the bottom of that thing.
Branding. We do branding as well. I didn't bring that today because I have to have a cup of water to, knock all of it down. But we do branding. So we do initials. We've done names. We've done words. We do all of that. Yeah.
I didn't know so much. I didn't know there was all these accessories to go onto a hat. I mean, I knew like you could do whatever you wanted with a hat, but I didn't know like the branding and like I've seen the cards and all that stuff. But it is true. It's like if you are a hat designer, that's great because you can make your hats and you can design them a certain way. But having that level of customization and personalization, where it is like when people see the hat, like that's your hat.
Absolutely. And we did this past year, we did an event, and I'm not going to mention the event, but we did an event, and they wanted us to change the way we do things, thinking that it would make it easier and better for their event. So I had to make a contract and all of that stuff, but I did not compromise what we did. They wanted us to pre-make some hats to sell so people wouldn't have to wait for us to construct them and put them together. And I was like, absolutely not. That is like your whole bit. That you are wanting me to change my entire business concept for one event. I'm not, no. Like, sorry.
Yeah.
So, and I'm sticking to that. Like, that's
good. One,
it's not fair to ask a business to change their concept for you. That's not cool. But to do it, I can promise you're going to sell, this many hats and da-da-da-da-da. So it's, it would make sense for you to do this. No, it won't, because at the end of the day, you're asking me to compromise what my business is all about. And I'm not going to compromise my business values for one event that may or may not be successful.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. Now, a lot of people would, I guess, to get business or whatever the case may be, but I'm just not one of those people.
Yeah. And there's, right. And there could be
grab it.
Oh.
Okay.
There could be a time and a place where it may make sense to alter a little bit of what you do.
Right.
But
agreed.
Majority of the time, the businesses are going to say, this is what we do. And if you want us at your event, that's what you're going to get.
Correct.
That's what customers have been coming to us for.
Correct.
Is because of what we do.
That's right.
And not because we're able to just flip off and on our actual products.
Exactly.
And
I'm not one to compromise in those things. There are some things that, of course I'll give, but not a whole.
Yeah, burn versus not burn. Sure, you'll give, but
I'll give, but not. Yeah, so that was interesting. that was real fun. It was a real fun event that day.
So these events, are they hiring you to come out there, and are they saying, "Hey, we'll have you come out we want you to come out to the event," and are they taking a percentage of profits? Or are they saying, "We'll pay you to come because you bring value and it's what our people want"? What is that relationship like?
So each one is different. Okay. So let's start out easy with our common stuff. That would be when somebody just books a private party. Okay. At their home, at their restaurant, whatever the case may be. I'm really easy. The only thing I ask for is a $50 deposit to hold the date.
That's fair.
Because my time and my calendar is money. It's money. That's where my money comes from. So if you're booking a date and then at the last minute you're going to tell me, oops, sorry, changed my mind. Well, somebody else could have taken that date. So it's a $50 deposit. I have done pop-ups at restaurants, Lichen Brewing Company in Denham Springs. They're very good to me. They actually were one of the first people that let me come out, not knowing really what I did or what I had to offer. February of last year. And that catapulted me into this full-fledged, oh my God, slow down, but don't slow down kind of business. I asked her, I was like, hey, this is what I do. You know, can I come pop up for a little Galentine's event? And she was like, absolutely. You know, let's do it on this. So how many people do you want? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, let's start with 8 because I don't really know how it's going to go. This is kind of a
8 people?
8 people.
Okay. This is a very small, intimate group.
Very small group, 8 people. They were required to, they didn't charge me. Lichen doesn't charge me to come out because it's a win-win collaboration for us.
People are going to drink while they wait for a hat.
Absolutely.
It's real simple.
Absolutely. So it's a win-win. They don't charge me. Like I said, they're very good to me. So we required everybody to put a $20 deposit down to hold their spot. That way, I know how many to prepare for. Okay. We opened it up to 8 people. Within 2 hours, 10 people played for spots.
So no one put a cap on the event.
So we were like, okay. So I called her back and I was like, hey, we just sold out that class and added 2 extra within 2 hours. I said, do you want to do another date? And she was like, yeah, you want to do the next night? Sure. Within 24 hours, the next night was filled with 12 people. Yeah.
All right.
Crazy.
You've 2.5 times your initial
crazy. So I was
within
like
24 hours.
I was like, okay, somebody's trying to tell me something. All right, cool. It was so much fun. We had so much fun. They enjoyed it. And from there, people booked birthday parties or girls' night out or what. And then it just kept coming and coming. A girl from New Roads found me on Facebook and said, hey, we do this event every year. It's called Wine Down. We'd love to have you come out and set up the hat bar. Cool. It was like a 3-hour event. We had, the first hour, people look.
Yeah, what is it
They're
about?
walking around. What's this? You know, they're going to look. Da, da, da. So it's a 4-hour event. We're already down an hour and a half because you looked. You haven't done anything yet. The last 2 hours of the event, I sold 17 hats. In 2 hours, I had to make
17 hats.
17 hats. I was the only designer at the time. Now I have another designer that I bring to bigger events with me, but I was by myself. So a couple of the ladies like, oh, well, we live in the Baton Rouge area. Can I take your hat home and I'll deliver it to you? So I had to bring 5 home and deliver it.
So then you're pre-ordering hats at that point.
I'm like, hallelujah. Like, it was
It's
crazy.
incredible.
And that girl from New Roads invites me to everything all the time because she loves what I do. She's bought a couple. I've given her a couple. It's amazing how it just blew up. Like, I didn't expect it. I expected to get a little something here, a little something there.
Yeah.
But I never expected it to blow up so fast. And I am so thankful for it because my husband makes a good living. But when I decided not to work full time anymore, I lost a big salary.
Yeah.
So this is our vacation money. This is our weekend money. This is, so
Yeah.
and it's been very good and I'm very thankful for it. But it also gives me a purpose.
Especially hearing that story about that woman who wanted the hat. Like, you're not just making hats for people to wear to a concert here and there. For some folks, you're making a memory.
Yeah.
You're making a memory that they can look at, put up on the wall, put in a glass case, and be like, that's, for her, that was her son. That's the memory of her son there.
Absolutely. Every time she wears it, every time she looks at it, she's going to think of her son, and it's going to be good memories.
Yeah.
And like I said, that truly makes me happy. And, when you get to be my age and you've done things and now you're trying to figure out what your next stage is, Purpose is really important.
This episode of the Patty G Show is sponsored by Genteel Apparel. Genteel Apparel is our newest clothing outfitter. We've got a great partnership with them. Head on over to the website, pattygshow.com/sponsors to learn a little bit more about them, and there's a little treat there for you when you get there. Again, this episode is brought to you by Genteel Apparel.
So we have our feathers, we have all of our banding done, and now we're going to throw some bling in there.
Ooh, bling it up. Okay.
We're going to bling it up.
So what are the bling options?
So a lot. I have a lot. So I carry...
Where do you find this stuff to begin with? Is
Again,
there like
I do a lot of research.
Like a hatbuilders.com or something like that? I mean,
that would be easy if that was the case. But I shop anywhere from Hobby Lobby to Etsy to I know people who design and make jewelry, and I reach out to them and I look for vintage pieces. So the pieces that I'm using today are not vintage pieces, but I have vintage pieces that I can offer. Some may be a small additional cost, some may not.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to be a little over generous sometimes, but again, at the end of the day, if they love that piece and it made them happy and I saw that, I'm not charging extra for that.
Yeah.
Again, that's just me, but I know what it takes and what it costs to make my product. So I know how generous I can be.
Right.
When I want to be generous or when I need to be generous.
Yeah. Well, and the last thing you want is for your customers to feel like you're sitting there trying to nickel and dime them for each and every little thing. And
agreed.
When you have a bunch of trays and it's like, well, this is an extra $5, this is an extra $10, this is an extra whatever, and then they're looking at it, and then you have people like, well, I really liked that, but
I don't want to pay an extra $5-10 for it.
Yeah.
And to be honest, so when I in any of my businesses, but in this one too, I think about what I would do. Mm-hmm. What would I pay for? What would I be willing to pay for certain things? And that's how I tend to run my business. Because if I'm not willing to pay for it and I'm cheap, I'm frugal. I want a good deal. I'm looking for a bargain. Yeah. But man, me and my husband got married at 18. We had 2 babies by 21. We had to be frugal.
Right.
He was making $3.50 an hour when we got married in 1990. We had to be very frugal. So I'm still that way. But I'm going to pay for quality. I'm going to pay for an experience and things like that. So that's what I try to bring to the table for my customers as well. So with us, it's not just about making a cool hat. It's about the experience as well. So when we do workshops, it's all about the experience.
So what are these workshops?
So when we do events, they will pick out everything they want. I will construct the hat just like I'm doing right now. Okay. The workshops, I set it up the same way I would set up any event, but everybody gets a glue gun. Everybody gets a pair of scissors. Everybody gets all of the materials except the fire. You're not playing with fire. We're not going to do that.
So that would be a little bit higher liability insurance.
We're not doing that. I will play with the fire. But other than that, they get all the things that they're going to need to make their one-of-a-kind custom.
So they're making the hats.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They actually do the hand-on work. And I literally mic up. And
you got like a little mic and a fanny pack speaker?
I have the little, the little belt with the headset. And I mic up and walk them through that entire process of making their own hat. And man, they got some really cool people out there. They can do some really cool designs. Like, I'm like, at the end of the party, I'm like, can I hire you? Like, they're good,
do you
man.
Want a job?
I know. I'm like, man, y'all made some cool stuff. So, but it's a lot of fun because that's where I say the experience, the experience of what GypsyLane has to offer comes in. Because it's not just about making a hat, it's creating an experience for those customers.
Which, after we've kind of gotten over this hump and people are wanting to get back out and do things, go to the concerts, have parties, it's always going to be more about the experience than it is the end product, right? You know,
Exactly.
people are wanting to have more of the journey than the destination.
I agree. And that's what is very important to me. And that's when I decided to do this, that's what I was building on, was that whole concept.
Yeah.
So, so we're pretty much done. And now we have a one-of-a-kind GypsyLane design.
Man, smoking everything. That's incredible.
Smoking everything. Yeah.
So like that, just looking at it now and looking at the initial just hat sitting there is night and day. Mm-hmm. It's totally different.
It's taking ordinary to extraordinary.
Right. So then this has to go to somebody who turns to the right. Who turns to the right.
Who poses like that when the camera comes out. Exactly.
So another big question that people will have when looking at this is, my head's a weird size. Mm-hmm. So how do you work through that specific situation? You know, Jay and I, we have arguably some of the larger heads here in Baton Rouge, filled with nothing but smoke. So there's nothing really there. So but we've got large heads, and other people have smaller heads, more compact skulls, if you were.
I gotcha. So I buy hats that are adjustable.
Okay.
So
how can a hat be adjustable?
So most hats. I'll clean this up later. Most hats that I purchase come with a drawstring inlay. Okay. So you can pull it and tighten that crown.
Okay. So the crown itself actually tightens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this band, see how it was laying flat? Mm-hmm. Then you pull and you tighten the band. Okay. So now it tightens up that band. So if this still doesn't work in your head, it's still too small. I also bring an inlay here that will sit underneath that band and give it a little bit more tightness there. It's like a foam. Yeah. And it just sits there and it gives you a little bit more tightness. Now, if you have a super big head, these won't work.
This product is not for you.
Maybe not. But if it's a private event, like a party that's booked and it's a little ways, you know, and hey, look, we've seen your hats before. I need something a little bit bigger. Can you get me a larger size? Sometimes I can go and get a hat that's a little bit larger if I'm told in advance and I have time to order those hats.
You should just like start having a form when people sign up for the workshops, send your head size.
I know. That's so much work. I don't want to put that much work. I hate to say it that way, but that's a lot, because then that also adds another dimension to what I'm doing, which is also more time that I'm now investing. So that time now could potentially be added to my finished product. Right. You see what I'm saying? So if I start adding all those things, that's putting more work on the front side, then it may have to be compensated for on the back side.
Well, because like I've seen, and I know you have from the research and everything, is these hat makers, these custom hat makers in Texas or Nashville or wherever they are, that will have these steam little machines where they're steaming the hat. And like it's almost as if someone goes there and they pick like, what piece of leather do you want? And then we'll structure it.
That's exactly what they do.
So
that is not me. I am good and I have a lot of talent, but I don't have that one.
Well, it takes a lot of machinery too.
That's a very expensive investment. And the product price is not a $75 custom hat. Those hat makers are selling those hats $350, $400. Right. Because they're leather or suede or Australian suede or whatever the case may be. So you are paying for what you're getting 1,000%. So,
but they also can't pack it up and bring it somewhere for a pop-up.
They can't. Well, some can, depending on, because there are people that do that say we'll go to rodeos and things like that and bring their setup and custom make their hats for their riders, your bull riders, your bronc riders, things like that, and they will custom make those for them. So there are some that can do that. Much bigger scale than I'm.
I would say it's much bigger scale, but it's also more time intensive too. I mean, your hat from start to finish could probably be done in 10, 12 minutes? Yeah. If you had all the stuff, elements, and you're not doing it,
absolutely. I can construct a hat full on even branding in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max, depending on how much they picked out to put on that hat.
So what material did you use today, and what material options do you have to offer?
So tons. So I shop on Etsy, find different materials on Etsy that I can't find locally, like at Joann's or Hobby Lobby, things like that. Most people that do what I do, that's where they get their materials from, to be very honest with you. Just because it's easy access and there's so many different varieties, textures, and patterns. So I try to stay local as much as I can with those, but I also shop vintage stores and Goodwills. I'm all about a rugged pair of jeans and Wranglers, and I'm cutting those suckers up. I'm sticking a Wrangler pocket on a hat. Like, if you can imagine it, we can design it for the most part. Yeah.
So, I mean, as you sat here and I watched you construct this beautiful hat, to me, I'm like, if she doesn't have 3 different camera angles at every booth that she's doing, capturing that content, you need to.
So,
like, that's
funny you said that.
Okay.
Yes, I do now going into this year, because there was a lot of learning process for me last year.
Of course.
So so I have that. I have the camera that's going to set up, and as I move, it moves with me. So yeah.
Oh, you fancy.
I'm trying. I'm trying. But I had to get stuff that would work, whether I have to put it on, because this I have 2 of these.
Okay.
I have one. This was something that was added probably 4 months ago. So I started off on a table, just a 4-foot pop-up table. Well, I'm not as young as I used to be. So leaning over that to make a hat was killing me. So I'm like, okay, we got to find some. Yeah. Found this. So started off with one design table. Now my best friend is my second designer for my big events. Well, just got her one. So, I learned a lot as I built the business last year. So going into 2025, all of my customers, all of the people who have booked parties, they're gonna see some really cool, different stuff this year.
Do you even have like a little lazy Susan at the end to film and spin the hats around once it's done?
Yes. I do. Yeah. Yes. So yeah, when I'm making hats at home, I video it. I put it on my little cake stand spinner, and as I'm making it, So and I have a program that if I took a picture of this and it has all of this in this background, then I can take all of the background out and it's just a hat. So I'm learning.
This is becoming more and more advanced the more and more you talk. This is phenomenal.
It's like, I love it. Like, I don't know if you can tell, but it just
comes across it. Absolutely.
I love it. Like, it has been a joy. I've met some really awesome people, made some really cool connections. It's just, it's been a lot of fun this past year for me. And I have such a good feeling about 2025 and all the things that are coming. It just really excites me. And I can't wait to meet and connect with more people as we move forward.
So is the horse trailer going to come in 2025?
Man, I was trying to get it in 2024, but it just didn't work out, the right one. I just haven't found the right one yet.
So what's the idea? What's the design concept that you have in mind for this trailer?
For the trailer? Yeah. So I actually have 2. I don't want to do a full-on, let's do 2 things. I don't want to do a full-on brick and mortar where I have to pay for a brick and mortar.
Right.
I would love to be able to partner with a boutique in the Baton Rouge area that can give me a space, a wall space, and a place where I can put a bar where people can walk in and have a hat designed. That's a really cool concept. There's a place out in Arizona that has one, and I tell my husband every time I look them up on Instagram and tell him, like, I want to be them when I grow up. Like, I want to be, because it just is so cool. People book private events and they come in, or they just walk in right off the street and pick out everything they want from the whole setup, and we're doing it right there. So that's basically the same concept with a trailer. Mm-hmm. Whereas even if it's at somebody's house, I can just roll up with a trailer, open the back door, or open the side vent. All of the hats are on the back wall. You pick out which one you want, and then you shop from all the stuff that we have set out, and we're going to construct it for you.
I love it.
Yeah. that concept, the horse trailer concept, will be what I'm hoping to do for wedding receptions.
Okay.
But even if we don't have the horse trailer, we have full setups to accommodate that same experience without the trailer.
Man, that's like that's the ultimate wedding flex. Hey, come to my wedding, and instead of getting like a little bag of rice to leave, get a hat.
You leave with a favor that you can wear.
That's a
You're not going to leave it in your car and it's going to melt because it's some chocolate or, whatever the case is.
Or it's like a classic hangover kit that with the liquid IV and the Advil and all that stuff. No, you come to my wedding, you're getting it.
Exactly. Every time you put that on, you can remember what, the experience and the fun you had. And
you could even like brand the date, like,
all of it.
Like how they give out the koozies and everything.
Yep.
No, we give out hats.
All of it.
Thank you to our wonderful sponsor, Lake Men's Health Center with Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group. Guys, I know it's tough to get out and go to the doctor. I know it's challenging to find time in our busy days, but I promise you, signing up to be a part of this group with Dr. Curtis Chastain and Dr. Tyler Boudreau, you won't regret it for several reasons, but most of those being the fact of the time it saves, where you're able to get in on the same day, get that appointment done, and spend that time you need to talk with them about what your health goals and concerns are, as well as ensuring that the financial investments you have, you will be able to live out and see those come to fruition. So if you're an investing guy, you know all about and planning for the future and investing in the future. There's no other more important thing to invest in than your health. Make sure you go check them out. Our Lady of the Lake Physicians Group Men's Health Center, and tell them Patty G sent you.
So
have you had like brides reach out to you about this? Is this a reality thing, or are we still
it is so
ideas?
A little of both, and I'll tell you about a collaboration that I just had a business meeting with another company that you're going to have on, I think later on this month, and we're doing a collab. So I'll tell you about that a little bit. But one of my best friends got married in October, and she reached out to me and asked me to make her a bridal hat. And all she said was, "This is the colors I want, and I want an off-white ivory hat." And I made her. She didn't want to wear it with her gown. She wanted to wear it with her reception dress.
Yep.
Into the after party, and she loved it. It was beautiful. She loved it. She could have worn it with her gown. But yeah, it was something that she'll always be able to keep. She'll treasure it. It's, now it's becoming an heirloom. It is now an heirloom for her. Yeah. She could pass that down. She can, do anything she wants with it now.
It's a whole lot easier to rewear a hat than to rewear your wedding dress.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, that is the market that I'm looking to move into this year, is that wedding and bridal market. We want to be able to do receptions, bridal lunches, brunches, bachelorette parties. If they are having a bachelorette party in Memphis and you want us to come to that location, we will work it out.
You'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
Might not be $75 a hat, but you'll make it happen.
Or it may be $75 a hat with a travel fee, but I'll make it happen. So that's what we're looking to do this year. So that's the market that I'm working on this year. We did the individual markets in 24 to build the brand, to really work out a lot of kinks and all of that stuff. And now we're moving forward, and that's the market we're wanting to work in this year.
I love it. I'm excited.
Yeah. So we are partnering with Let's Go Glamping. And that's
they're upcoming on the show.
You're going to have Brooke and Katie come in, and we are working on a joint collab where if you book us and you want something added, we can work with them, which they can bring out the tent, and we can do a whole bachelorette experience with the glamping and then with the hat bar, and then vice versa. They're gonna, use me as an add-on, and we're gonna work together to create an entire experience for a bachelorette party.
I love it.
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited about that.
You've got a lot upcoming in 2025.
We do.
So you heard it here first, right?
I'm very excited. Like, if you can't tell, but
right.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about all the things that are going to come this year.
I love that. Well, before we get you out of here,
okay,
we do have a set list of questions we ask every guest. So the first one is, what is something you did as a kid you wish you could still do today?
Woo. Ride a bike. I know that sounds dumb, but I am not coordinated. Like, I'm just not coordinated anymore like I was back then. If I got on a bike right now, like, I'd probably face plant. It would not be a good situation.
It's, they say it's like riding a bike, but the older you get,
maybe not.
Maybe that's an incorrect usage of the phrase, and we need to rethink that.
Like, I told my husband one day, I think I want a bike. He was like, you sure about that? Well, maybe I should rethink it. Maybe I don't want a bike.
Oh, man. That's a good one. I like that one.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love it. No, that's perfect. That's perfect. I love it. Somebody told us one time that they wish they could jump off a roof into a swimming pool still. So, it's like, that's the purpose of the question.
Got it.
So you've been doing this for 12 to 18 months so far.
Mm-hmm.
You just wrapped up 24. You've got a big 25 ahead of you. What are like 3 lessons you have learned thus far?
Again, don't be afraid to fail because you can figure it out. So I would say that's definitely 1. I would say 2, watch who you surround yourself with. The people you surround yourself with is very important. You want cheerleaders. You don't want time wasters. And then 3, just be consistent. So like I was talking earlier saying that, somebody wanted me to change the value of the company and things like that. Don't compromise what you're trying to build. Just stay very consistent in what you're doing and the business will come. People will trust you and they will trust in the product that you're producing.
I love it.
Yeah.
What is something you love about Baton Rouge?
The culture. So I'm a culture girl.
Okay.
And I like to travel, but you're not going to get the culture that you get here. My sweet brother, they moved to, him and his wife live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and born and raised here, who's here, forever. But when we go up to visit, mama got to cook. Like, mama got to cook, So it's just different. The culture's different. The food is different. It's just different.
Yeah, we have a unique way of life and a unique cuisine about us, for sure.
We do. And my mother's side of the family is from Houma, way down Houma. So they're very Cajun. So, yeah, they used to talk French when I was little. So the only way you knew you were getting talked about is if they actually said your name. So they could, they would rattle. So those kind of things are really cool to me, and being able to have that heritage and that culture.
Yeah. I have family members that are the same way. We would go visit them, and they would just talk French to one another.
I know.
And then they call your name and like, oh, okay, you need me now.
Right.
Sorry,
I'm either in trouble.
Right. What did I do?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, the final question: what can I do to help you?
Well, you've had me here today, so I'm hoping that's going to be a huge help. But yeah, just spread the word. Just, I love what I do, and I think people will enjoy the experience. So if you know somebody having a birthday party or, whatever, 21-year-old birthday parties were crazy for us this past year.
Sure.
But I'm like, 21-year-old want to make a hat? Like,
21-year-old, you get a hat.
It was insane.
That's just the thing.
It was great. Like, they were so much fun. So birthday parties, any age, just any get together. You want a unique, fun experience? You go.
So how can people get a hold of you? Yeah. First part. Second part, can they be ordered individually online somewhere?
Okay, so I don't have a website.
Okay.
People ask me that. The reason why I don't is because so much changes. I may have this feather today. I may not have it tomorrow. So I would literally have to man a website 24/7, and that's just not feasible. So I'm on Facebook, GypsyLane 225, Instagram. You can find me just GypsyLane 225 as well. My phone numbers are located on both. If you need a custom and you don't want to have an actual party, that's okay. You can reach out to me. Tell me what you're looking for. I have 5 questions that I ask you. You answer those 5, and I create a hat for you based on that form that you filled out.
Have you ever had anybody say no thank you once it was done?
I had one Karen.
I love how you lead with a Karen.
I had one Karen in the whole time. So these are all custom hats. You pick it out.
Right.
I don't pick it out. Now, I may help you, guide you. Oh, those look great. What about this? You think you would like this? Da, da, da. The end of the day, you are picking it out.
Right.
Once I put it together, it is literally what you picked out.
Yeah. Once it's burned, you can't unburn the hat.
Okay, so it's literally what you picked out. So I made it. She got it. She's like, oh, I love it. Da, 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 da. 2 minutes later, tells one of my staff, I just don't love it. And I'm hearing the conversation, and I'm like, I'm just listening. And so my staff member comes over, and she's like, look, she says she just doesn't love the hat. And so I'm like, well, ma'am, what about it don't you like? I mean, you picked out everything for the hat. Well, I didn't know it was going to look like that once you put it all together. I'm like, did you see the displays we had? Like with the, because we had a couple on display to kind of give an idea of what the hats were. Did you see the displays? Yeah. I was like, well, I just don't understand. I'm just confused. Maybe you can help me. Like, what about it? Well, this feather just, okay, well, do you want me to remove the feather or put another feather? Or so she goes, well, that's fine. I'm just going to take it, but I'm just not going to promote y'all. And I was like, okay, well, thank you anyway for that. But again, I had to 100% your custom design. So I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm not going to refund your money, and I can't take it back because I can't resell it to somebody else. It's your design.
After that interaction, do you now have a sign that you put on the table that says, yes, yes.
All designs are final. All sales are final. But hey, one Karen in 16 months, look, not too bad.
Oftentimes the warnings are put there because someone did something.
Exactly.
They're never put there preemptively. They never says, don't touch the hot pool preemptively without someone actually touching the hot pool. It never says all sales are final until someone says the sale's not final.
1,000%. And business is a learning experience. Right. It's a learning process. You'll learn as you go.
Yeah, and the fact that they've got this, you've got displays. It's you. I think you handled it quite well. I built you exactly what you asked for.
You asked for it. I didn't pick it out. Your design. I just literally glued it. I'm not sure what you want, but
I love it.
So yeah.
Well, good deal. Well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time. This was fun and exciting, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much.
You. Appreciate it. So we're gonna give this hat away.
Okay. So
we'll figure out a way. We'll talk about it and figure out a way, and one of your viewers will,
we'll figure out a way. It'll be some sharing.
Whatever you want to do. I am going to leave this. I'm going to leave this beauty in your capable hands.
We'll handle it,
and you can give it away.
You got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Make sure you sign it.
I will.
We got to make sure we sign it.
I will.
So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. And thank you, everybody else, for tuning in, whatever platform you're consuming us on. I really appreciate it. I know the guests do as well. We're back. We're back better than ever in 2025. We've got some changes upcoming this year, some really exciting stuff. So stay tuned, and we'll see you each and every week. I'm Patty G, host of The Patty G Show, and we'll get you next time.